Many of us today don't feel like it. There's many days we don't feel like it. Pains or tough times or storms around us and situations happening. But we're going to have to step out of what we think is, how can I look at the situation before me? Shane, how can I praise the Lord? How can I do that? You got to step out and try. You can't stay for whatever excuse, whatever reason you got. You can't stay riding that boat. It's time that you get out. It's time that you try and start going forward. And God will start helping you, and you'll hear the voice behind you, and you'll understand that the things that's going on and how He's trying to get you into a pure heart. Or we can keep doing it. It's up to us. We keep following a lot of wrong and keep doing. On down right there in chapter 2, verse 1 of 1 Corinthians. Paul went on and said this, "And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not in the excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of God. For I determined not to know anything among you save Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with the enticing words of man's wisdom, but with the demonstration of the Spirit and of power, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God." All we got to know is one thing. And we said that's the power, is Jesus and Him crucified. That's what Paul just said. If you got this one thing, and you believe this one thing, that Jesus died and Him crucified, then you can beat anything. You can overcome anything. And to know, based upon seeing the strengths of people through hard situation, that the words that you preach has been not man's wisdom, but God's wisdom, is amazing. And you don't notice how much that lifts me up to know, oh man, it must have been God. Because I can't do anything. I can try to help you. I can try to carry your load. I can be there for an ear. But I can't do anything without Him. I can't do nothing without Him. In season, out of season. As Sandy was talking about. No matter what it is. Whether you feel like it or not. Be ready to do the foolish things that appears to us. But step out is what Paul is trying to say. And the only thing you got to know is Jesus and Him crucified. And that's what I said about many denominations. I don't have these denominational barriers. I don't argue doctrine with people. But if they preach Christ and Him crucified, that's what matters to me. That's what matters to me about it. That they preach those things. And they preach that. But to just know that alone is what Paul is saying here, that we will, he said, I've been with you in weakness and in fear and in trembling. But the final thing, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. Your faith stand in the power of God. And as we said, as he said before there, the weak things of God is much above what man can be. It's beyond. And if we just got the power of God, and it comes by faith. In faith, you got to step out of your comfort zone. We got to step out of what we prove time after time. I can preach. I'm comfortable to do that. But if I don't get out of my comfort zone and realize by faith I got to step out into the powers of God, then I'm just going to continue getting the same results. Continue the same routine, continue the same thing. And as we said, the church, God has expressed upon me that we ain't got it right. We got to get it right. We got to get the things right. And I can't tell you what it is yet. I can't. All I know is that we just need to let the Spirit have His way, period. And whatever He wants to do, however He wants to do it, in whatever frame He wants to do it, and however long He wants to do it. As we said before, if God ever told me that we show up here on Saturday at 6 a.m., and don't leave His place for 24 hours until Sunday at 6 a.m. We're still going to have Sunday service at 1. How many of us would change our schedule? How many of us could just cancel all of our appointments, no matter what they are, and just show up because God told us to? Or would we trust the ministries or whatever? Or even if it came from one of you all that said, the Lord told me to tell the church this. We're to go into a 7-day fast, and after that, we're to be a 24-hour prayer. Everybody change your schedule now and be here. How many of us is willing to show up? How many of us is really to come in one accord, one of mine, and stay here for 24 hours and pray? His disciples, he even said, can you not pray with me 1 hour in my darkest hour? When I need you the most, friend, why can't you be here for me? Why can't you pray for me? Why? Because he said the flesh is weak. The flesh don't want to do it. As we said, you're warring two things, Satan and your flesh. You're warring against both of them every day. Pain, agony, tired body, tired of all the situations around you, tired of all those things. And the flesh don't want to do it. It don't want to push forward. It really don't. But you got to push out what we think is the right way and follow what the Word says or whatever God tells us, even how foolish it may appear to us, even how crazy it may appear to us. We got to push it out and do exactly what He says. Step out of the boat, onto the water, and see what happens. See what happens. And I believe you'll walk on it if you'll have the faith to step out. But it takes faith to find the powers of God. And all you got to know is Christ and Him crucified to do that. That's all you got to know. You just got to believe it in your heart that Christ died and rose again is what He says. He was crucified for all that. He was beaten for all these things. And we're letting them go. As we said, we're like Esau. We're selling our inheritance away. For whatever purpose, we're selling it away. We're giving it away. For one meal or for one tiredness or for one whatever, for whatever reason we don't want to step out of the boat. We're given our inheritance, our born right gift that we had the day that we bowed a knee. We were guaranteed inheritance here and there. We were guaranteed promises here and there. And I'll be honest with you, I don't see many people enjoying the full inheritance of God. I see people with strengths, I do. I see people occasionally enjoy the promises, but to say that I've seen somebody constantly run in them day after day after day, like Paul did, even when I'm sure he had some stumbles along the way. But day after day, for the most part, I don't know if I've seen anybody. You may have. I haven't. When I look close to the spiritual eye and look at the situation, I've had people tell me they are. I've had people say that they are. But when I look in their eyes, the eyes are the window to the soul. And when I'm slow to speak and quick to hear, I don't hear that. I really don't hear that in my spirit. That they're really enjoying what they say. Or what they say that they believe that Jesus can do anything until it comes down to the tire hits the road. Or the situations hit before us. It's fine when we're on top of the mountain. But when we're in the deep valleys and like John and told Teresa, one time I told her she was a rock, and like she said the other night, a rock even under pressure will break, but the Lord gave John a great wisdom that under pressure it becomes diamond. It becomes harder than any substance in this world. And I know she's under a lot of pressure right now. And it's beginning to fold. As she said, it felt like the Band-Aid's not sticking that she's trying to put up. But under that pressure, she's becoming a diamond. And I know she's under a lot of pressure. I can sense it when I pray for her. She didn't have to tell me that. I knew it. Under a lot of guns. And Chris is too. But through those things, they're going to become harder diamonds for him. Strock that they're standing on has become harder. But the foolishness, foolish things. Even Paul had the problems. We've spoke of this before, 2 Corinthians 12, 7 through 10. And we don't want to hear this many times. We don't. We want God, like we said, like my cousin was saying the other day. Believers expect God to move everything out of the way and make the road of gold. They want God to do everything. They want Him to make the fullness of joy for them. But the problem is we're going to have to live life here. Life here is going to have problems. It's going to have loss of loved ones. It's going to have hard times. It's going to have sicknesses. It's going to have serious situations that happen to us.